to the Nick and Matt Show, the disc golf podcast you've been looking for.
Boom! Here we are.
Wow.
We have been prepping for this day for a while, and we are finally here. This is the Nick and Matt Show. My name is Matt.
I'm Nick.
I wore the red shirt tonight, Nick. What do you think?
I wore the black, and we had to match our logo at least on the first time. I don't know if it's going to be an every week thing. It might be. Tell us if you guys like it, but I own a lot of black, so it's going to be easy for me.
Yeah. So what are we going to talk about? Because people see the episode, or not the episode, our show name is the Nick and Matt Show. And I've had people ask me, they're like, what is the show about? So what are you thinking, Nick? What's the show about?
I mean, it's simple. It's about me and you, the Nick and Matt Show. No, I'm just kidding. So Matt and I are actually competitive and casual disc golfers. We like to put out a ton of content. And so mainly this podcast is going to talk about a lot of disc golf, but also just life in general with everything going on right now. I think we have a ton of cool ideas to bring to everyone. Majority of it, though, going to be disc golf.
Yeah, so let's just introduce ourselves right now. So people joining and listening to this podcast, our first ever episode, I mean, we've got to do this right. We've got to introduce ourselves. So let me start off, and I'm going to ask you about yourself so I don't just go talking about myself. Nick, we know your name, but I feel like everybody knows your name if they know your name in the disc golf world, which some people do, because I feel like you've rubbed shoulders with some, pro disc golfers out there. They call you Nick Carl. So tell us about yourself a little bit, Nick. Who are you, and what do you do? And I don't know, brag on yourself a little bit.
I'll give it a go. So my name is Nick Carl. I've been playing disc golf for about 7 to 8 years now. Matt actually is the one who brought me into the sport. It's been nothing but awesome. And like Matt said, I have rubbed shoulders with a couple pro disc golfers. And that mainly came about from one of my best friends, Hannah. She started playing disc golf a little bit after I did. Matt and I kind of brought her into the sport, I would say. She's now married to Paul Macbeth. That's originally how I met him. And then through Paul and Hannah, I've met a ton of other awesome people, 2 of which actually are going to be guest speakers tonight on our broadcast show. That's pretty much it. I do work full-time for a living. I work as I drive dynamite for a living. That's my main job. Yeah.
Drive dynamite.
So, I'm a blasting assistant. So wherever there's rocks,
holy cow.
Our company usually goes in, and one of the ways we remove rock is by actually blasting it with dynamite. So it's fun. I have a blast doing it, and it's a good time. I enjoy it.
Wait a minute. We can't just glance over the dynamite part. You're saying you're driving things and you're not blowing things up?
I help blow things up. So
what kind of things are we talking about?
Mainly like if people are putting in swimming pools at their house, especially this time of year, they go to dig up the lawn and boom, they find a ton of rock that's in their way. Our company will bring a large drill. We'll start drilling out the holes in a certain pattern. And then my buddy Seth and I, we are the ones who actually drive the dynamite to the job site, wherever it is. And we'll help out just in any way we can, whether it comes to running the seismograph, which records the readings, or actually loading the holes with the dynamite. And I can't really go too much more on it. It's kind of like a hush hush.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
You're not really supposed to talk about exactly how it works, but that's the kind of like main idea.
So one of the things we're trying to do here, just so everyone's aware, is we're doing this live right now. So if you're listening to this later, that's cool too. We want to make this, relevant to everybody. But we are doing this live. So if you'd like to join the conversation, we're gonna announce on our Facebook page, the Nick and Matt Show, and we're gonna announce on our YouTube channels, like when we plan to post these things go live. You can join the conversation. And we just had somebody make a joke about you saying, I have a blast doing it. So that was a good joke. So
punny.
So punny. So yeah, we've got a really exciting, I think, episode today. So you're here in this first part. You just heard Nick introduce himself, and we've got Simon Lizotte lined up today, as well as Terry Miller, the disc golf guy. I mean, how could we start an episode or our show, our first episode ever, any better than this? So all right, you introduced yourself. I don't want to be left out, so
go for
it. Go for it. So my name's Matt, and some of you may or may not recognize my name. I'm not very famous. unlike Nick.
I'm blushing.
I started Kids Disc Golf, the brand Kids Disc Golf, with my brother Josh about 5 years ago, if my math's correct. And it kind of took off. We've got, I think, nearly 20,000 followers around the world now at Kids Disc Golf. And so that's kind of one of the things I do in the disc golf world. But I've been playing disc golf for 14 years. I started, it sounds funny because I'm running Kids Disc Golf. I feel like I started kind of late. I started back when I was 21. And I had my brother-in-law, he was like, hey, have you ever disc golf before? And I'm like, what's that? And he's like, you throw frisbees, and using terminology I'd understand, you throw frisbees and you can make them, I remember it sounded like magic. He's like, you can make them tilt, turn, and he was describing S turns and flex shots, and he's like, any way you want to throw it, overhand, underhand, you can make it skip on the ground upside down, pancake shots, scoobers, all these things. And I'm like, I grew up loving throwing frisbees with my brothers and my mom, everybody. I loved throwing frisbees growing up. So to me, that sounded awesome. And I was just like, take me to a course, and you will not believe it, Nick. The first course that I ever played was on Marshall Street, which, if you know Marshall Street, you either recognize the name Marshall Street Disc Golf, which is where a lot of people buy their discs online and in a retail store. Mm-hmm. But that's also on the same street as Maple Hill. So my first time ever playing was literally on the other side of the road from Maple Hill. And I grew up in Leicester, and you're not going to believe this. 14 years ago, disc golf wasn't as big of a thing, and I had never heard of it. And it was in my town, Leicester, Massachusetts. So I played at Pyramids, which is the course at Marshall Street Disc Golf. And I couldn't believe how incredible the game was. I mean, it was just so fun. And you probably had a similar experience. The first time you throw something and watch it fly, it's just awesome. And so I did that, and then he brought me to other courses, another local course. Shout out to Buffinville Disc Golf Course. It's a dam that the Army Corps of Engineers allowed to put a disc golf course on. And realistically, I mean, I got an ace maybe within the first year or two, and it was just like this. I mean, I can remember that feeling. I mean, disc golf in general just started taking over my life. And then I'll just kind of ramp up through a few things here. I got married eventually. And then my disc golf game was kind of like being threatened a little bit by the other important relationship in my life. And then I had a kid. I have 4 boys now, but I had a kid. And then it was just kind of like the game just started really changing for me in a lot of different ways. I was more concerned with introducing and getting my kids to play and enjoy the sport that I loved. Mm-hmm. But that's who I am. I mean, I guess if you want to know my full-time job, it's kind of boring, not related to disc golf, but I'm a safety professional. So that may come up a few times on here. I'm not sure, but so throwing discs with people in the way is not something that we really want to do. So that's my 9 to 5. I sometimes will be seen on tour, but just as a helper. And honestly, that kind of leads me into our next topic here, which is actually there's somebody that I was able to visit when there were events this year. He hit me up and he said, hey man, you have some time? You want to come out to Vegas? And I was like, yeah, let's go out to Vegas. And I'm talking about Mr. Terry Miller, the disc golf guy. So let's go ahead and bring him on. So without further ado, here he comes. So, hey, Terry, how are you doing, man?
Great, guys. How you guys doing tonight?
Good. Both doing very well. Excited to finally get everything going. And we were kind of wondering just a couple different things about, because you're so big in the disc golf content world. You've been doing media for, I don't even know how long, but ever since I started playing, we always knew who the disc golf guy was. And so it's really cool to actually finally be sitting down doing a podcast with you. You and I, we've ran into each other at multiple events. I know Matt has been helping you out with videos over the last year. And just tell us, how did you get into it? And give some tips. How do we run a pretty fun podcast people like to listen to?
Well, first of all, let me start with congratulations. Everybody talks about ideas and what they want to do, what they're going to do. And, all these concepts and then actually taking that and following them through to fruition is, I think, a huge mistake that so many people, even myself and many others, we always have ideas, but execution is another thing. So the fact that you guys have talked about it, formulated this, and then have an episode is leaps and bounds ahead of so many other people, and I can very much appreciate that and value that. So first and foremost, congrats on that. But then secondly, I want to say, so let me get this right. We've got a dynamite blaster and we've got a safety guy.
Yeah, I try not to see him at my job sites. If I see him, it's been a very bad day.
I feel like this is a little insight, maybe a little yin and yang.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Of maybe what's in store for you two on the podcast. Yeah. So, I started doing disc golf media related things in 2010. It was my very first ever vlog was January of 2010. It was actually in the same room that I'm in right now, and it's still not a full-blown studio, but I grabbed a camera. I read a book about social media called Crush It by Gary Vaynerchuk. Oh, yeah. I read that book
Wait a minute.
Very night.
How long ago was this? And there was social media, books on social media. So you didn't even have the internet.
No,
that's Gary V for you.
But Gary V basically said, if you have an Instagram or a Twitter or a Facebook account, you can be as impactful as a multi-million-dollar marketing firm if you're doing it right. And I thought that was so powerful. And that was when written blogs were actually probably near their height of popularity. I was like, I'm not a writer. I've got a $99 flip camera sitting. The Flip was the name brand for those of you that don't know.
Yes, I remember that.
$99 camera. And I just, in this very room, like I said, recorded my very first ever vlog, which I don't even think has 1,000 views to this day, 10 years later.
All right, let's get that video up to 1,000 views.
Yeah, everybody head over to
go to Terry's first ever vlog.
That was the kind of the formal forming of the disc golf guy. That was 2010. I got introduced to disc golf in like 93, 94, back when I was actually even closer to 92, when I was in 7th grade, 8th grade. And I had played it and I was very passionate about it. And I had run tournaments and was running leagues. And if it had anything to do with disc golf, I was doing it. And then in 2010 is when I officially formed the channel, made my first ever vlog. And here we are 10 years later. Now, I guess to get a little bit specific, Smashbox started in the spring of 2014. Shout out to the legacy guys who helped really get us off the ground. But it started in the spring of 2014. And when we were done doing our first 4 or 5 live broadcasts that year, we got to September, October timeframe, and we said, well, what can we do to try and still be relevant and kind of keep the momentum going? And then that was when Johnny V and I had the idea of, hey, let's do a weekly podcast that is live and is happening every single week during the off season. And when we started it, we honestly thought, okay, once March or April roll back around, we'll probably shut down the podcast and then, going back to that. Well, that didn't happen. And I think tonight we're going to be doing episode 298. So,
that's tonight. Yeah. So not to get way off topic, but something happened earlier to your studio basement.
That's right.
Yeah.
I was telling you about that.
Normally we're on Tuesday nights. This Tuesday I was traveling and picking up some discs for shipping boxes or shipping discs around. And then Johnny V had a flooding in his basement, which altered our typical studio setup. So every once in a while in the course of the last 6 years, we've kind of had to adjust. And occasionally we may push to a Wednesday or a Thursday. And this week, with kind of a couple things up in the air, we pushed podcast back until tonight. So I got 2 hours and 45 minutes before that happens.
So you mentioned the author of that book, Crush It. I feel like there was something else, because I've been around a little while in the disc golf scene, and I think I do remember you at Maple Hill with a flip camera. I think I remember. And the reason why that stands out to me is because at the time I was working at Walmart, and I was in the photo lab and we were selling these cameras. And I remember being like, oh, that's a decent camera for like vlogging. It was brand new. but it had the option, right? It had a USB option, right? That you could just flip it out.
Yeah.
And plug it right into your computer. So it was just, that was the easy way to do it back then.
Yeah. And you know, you literally, like you're mentioning, it flipped out a USB that plugged straight into the computer. That's how you downloaded it. It had its own internal memory, the maximum resolution. It was HD at 720 by whatever, 1080 by 720 or whatever it was, or 1280 by 720. Yeah. And that was it. There was no external microphone. I didn't know what an external microphone really was, or what an XLR cable was, and not that it had the capabilities, but those were all things I knew nothing about. And that's how the very first vlog started. And I want to say the first couple dozen vlogs were done with a $99 camera. And it was insane when I upgraded to a $399 camera, and then a $1,200 camera, and then the one I'm on now. Yeah, it's, that's kind of been my media evolution, in addition to kind of working with Disc Golf Planet, who was streaming live disc golf as well at the time. Yep.
So let's go back to, I think Nick mentioned this when he led into your interview here, is what are some tips that you have? I'd love to talk forever about everything. Honestly, like, I want to go back and be like, hey, I remember a time you posted about, like, hey, just stepping out and doing it. So just thank you, first of all. You said kudos to us for doing something and making that move. I don't remember what book it was, but at one point you did talk about, like, the fact of just doing it. And so anyway,
I was going to say, that's crush it. I mean, that's all there is to it. He basically, to this day, 10 years later, if you go Google or find Gary Vaynerchuk on any of the social medias, he's basically going to be saying the same thing he was saying 10 years ago, which is enough with the BS, enough with the excuses. There's no reason, like, 13-year-olds can rule TikTok and run Instagram. There's no reason why you have plenty of hours in the day to go out and do work or get real work done. Even if it's a side hustle, is how it starts. And that's all still true today.
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome. So let's get to it. Do you have any tips? Because this is our first ever episode podcast. We're doing it live right now, but what are some tips that you have? It's obviously different than when you started, like everything that's available to us. And but you've learned a lot of things along the way. Do you have any tips that you'd just be like, hey man, this is what I've learned. This is what I've learned, and maybe you'll learn it, or it's a different journey for all of us, but we're interested.
I don't know if I'm the right guy to ask. I mean, we have a podcast that's notorious for being the longest podcast in disc golf, and that
people love it.
That has a catch-22. Someone, we've had truck drivers or people who mow lawns that are like, man, I wish you guys were, 8 hours every day.
Yeah.
And then we have other people that are like, yeah, after about 30 minutes, I've had enough. Yeah. So be comfortable with whatever your format's going to be, I guess, would be really the solution there. And your next guest, Simon Lizotte, I remember talking to his boss, UC, shortly after we had our first couple of weeks of podcasts. And he was like, yeah, no, way too long, which he was, with a lot of people in saying that. And that kind of became a running thing for us, is like, yeah, we're a long form podcast that's really laid back and conversational. I can tell you this, you guys have already done more prep work for your first one than we probably ever do. And I can appreciate that. Some people are very detailed and have a script or a run of show. We kind of have a few points to talk on, and then it's pretty, like I said, laid back from there. So whatever your format is, just own it. There is no right or wrong format, I feel like, for a podcast, because I always think, where's the podcast definition end and like a morning radio show start? Like, I feel like we really blur that line.
Yeah, exactly.
And the one tip that I think that we execute terribly on, that we should still do more of, and I think Matt and you and I talked about this, we need to be chopping up some of the good snippets from our podcast and then releasing those as the week rolls on.
Yep.
And I'm really good at doing that only when I think I nailed something and I was right about something. So,
yeah.
So like, I just posted a clip this morning, or there was a reference to drive-in movie theaters. And then a few weeks ago, Johnny and I were talking about drive-in movie theaters, and he thought they were a big waste and they're dumb and they're not going to happen. Well, just a few minutes from his house, they just announced there's a drive-in movie theater that's going to pop up for the next few weeks.
Nice.
And so that was kind of my callback to that. Or last year, I think of Ricky Wysocki. We were talking about the Masters Cup and how volatile the scoring is. And I said, somebody could shoot 1 under one round and shoot 10 over the next. Well, sure enough, fast forward a few days, Ricky literally, shot like 12 under and then shot even. Yep. He had that volatile like 10 or 12 stroke swing. And I'm like, I look kind of smart. Let's find that clip.
Let's find that clip.
So,
and let's post it on YouTube for everyone to see.
Even when they're not, even if you're not just trying to, inflate your ego, find those clips that were great conversation pieces that you can then share with the rest of the world, and take it off of YouTube and go throw it on Instagram and say, hey, this was talked about. What are your thoughts? I think that's one opportunity that we have failed miserably over these last few years. I always talk about it, but we don't execute on it.
You need to crush it.
Yeah,
we need to crush it. That's honestly, that's a play right out of that book is. Yeah. Go across the platforms and utilize those things, because they're great conversation pieces. And you may not listen to our podcast, but you find that on Twitter, where we kind of had this brief conversation, and that might start a conversation on a platform that you are more comfortable with. Yeah. So that would be a tip, I would say. I'm sure you guys have the audio video component down. Matt, I know you've been very versed and you have background in all of that. So you're a step ahead of everyone there. And then I think it's already known that most people will say, the audio quality has to be there. I mean, some people can live with, not so great video from time to time, but the audio quality has to be there. Because if you're listening intently to something and then it's just terrible audio, you're going to lose a lot of people. So I think that audio quality is certainly key.
So we can ask anybody who's listening to this later and you want to comment, or watching this later and you want to comment, let us know what you think about our audio. So whether the levels are good for you, or if you think it sounds clear enough. So that's a great tip. And I think we're going to take those and run with a lot of those ideas.
Yeah, I just want to kind of highlight on that really quick. That is something Matt and I were talking about doing, especially to get onto all the different social media platforms. And like you were saying, when a podcast, sometimes if you guys run the longest podcast out of all the disc golfers, and you do take those little snippets, people want to hear that, because if they don't listen, they say, oh, I've been listening for an hour now, I'm kind of bored of it. And then all of a sudden you post a clip that they didn't hear within that hour. They go back and listen to that, and it's like, oh, wow, maybe it is worth listening for that extra, hour and a half, however long it goes. But that is definitely something we've talked about. Matt's the social media, all the tech savvy stuff when it comes to that. And so I'm really excited, and hopefully that does impact a lot of people, especially if we do have a week where we go over kind of like the time limit that we were originally going for. I think those will come in handy. Kind of like going on to our next topic, I did want to ask, what's one of the most interesting things you've seen happen on a disc golf course, whether it was a tournament, your own play? Give me just a cool, interesting story.
So, yeah. And so Nick's bringing that up because you have okay, I spent like a 4 or 5 day period with you in a hotel room. I learned a lot of interesting stories. There's a lot of different things, but just in general, I guess, and that's what Nick's asking, what is something that you've seen that might be just really interesting?
I would have to say one that comes to mind, besides seeing at the IDGC a couple years ago, there was a wedding ceremony that was taking place right under the Steady Ed Hedrick kind of gate, or what's the word I'm looking for? Before you enter the Steady Ed course, there's a little walkway right there, and there was a wedding ceremony going on. I think that was pretty cool. Of course, they're probably passionate disc golfers. Yeah. Not quite as original. It's funny that this is in conjunction with a tournament. I was in Texas, and I saw all of these guys running around, yelling and screaming, and I'm like, what is going on? And that was the first time I'd ever seen LARPing in person.
Nice.
And so
That's
they were
awesome.
just off the fairway, running around with, makeshift swords and
Styrofoam
shields and all that stuff,
yeah.
and pretending they were dying, and I'll never forget that. I thought that was one of the most crazy things I've seen at a course. And then fast forward a year or two later, which would have been just last year in Tallahassee, there was some LARPing going on right off of one of the fairways there as well. Outside of disc golf tournament play, where I've seen some of the most amazing things and dozens of world champions crowned, I would say those are probably some that really stand out as crazy. Or one more would be league night. This had to be now 5 or 6 years ago. I used to run leagues on Wednesday night at a short pitch and putt course. I got a hole in one, and then moments later, Johnny V, who was in the card with us, also got a hole in one on same hole, same basket.
Wow.
In the group, and our group went 6 under for the 4 of us on that particular hole. That's kind of cool as well. You don't see those too often.
No.
Well, hopefully, when I sign up for my next big event, I'm going to try to Google the town and see if they got any LARPing tournaments going on. Because believe me, after my round, if I don't shoot too well, I'm going to need to take my anger out with some LARPing. So that'll be awesome.
Yes, and I had to learn, just because I didn't really know what it was. That's when I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I get it now.
Yeah.
I understand."
That's awesome.
That's great. So, I think you already said you're going to be able to stick around for a little while.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
I'm going to put you, because everything's virtual nowadays, and our people listening online, or they're listening to the podcast, or they're watching live. Everyone's at some level sheltered and at different states, different requirements. But we're going to put you in our virtual green room for a little bit, and we're going to get ready to bring on our next guest. So sit tight. We'll bring you back for a minute. We got a game coming up that I think is going to be really fun. So stick around. All right. So that brings us to, we've got a few topics here, and I think what we'll do is we'll just do a quick 1-minute review on one of these topics, and then we're going to bring on our guest here, Simon Lizotte, which I'm sure our people are starting to crowd.
Really want to hear from.
Yeah, they're starting to crowd. So people listening online listening at podcasts are like, well, we're not watching, and I don't care how many people are watching live and all that, and that's
Exactly.
cool.
Yep.
But let's just talk really quickly right before we bring them on. So the Disc Golf Pro Tour putting events, the putting championship, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a cool idea. I think it was needed. It was some type of live sport competition, and I think honestly, I enjoyed watching it. Nick, did you get a chance to check any of that out?
I've gotten to check out a little bit of it. I haven't watched every single kind of whole video that they've done yet. I know Paul got out, which is a bummer first round. He got outed, but hey, now no one can say, oh my gosh, Paul wins everything, because look, he lost this putting competition going on. But the Pro Tour actually, I think, put out an article saying that a lot of the competitors that are in this have really, really enjoyed it. It's cool to kind of keep connecting with everyone. They also get to keep some competitive mentality going on with them. And luckily for this topic, Simon, who is in, I forget now. Actually, I haven't seen the standings in a bit.
Well, we're going to bring him on.
We're going to bring him on, so he'll be able to talk to us a little bit more about it.
Right. So you've watched it. I think it's good. I think it's great for the sport in general. The production quality during time of quarantine and all of that is tough. They utilize a lot of stuff that everybody, in fact, you look at CBS, NBC, ABC, any of these places that are doing Survivor. Me and my wife watch Survivor. I know it's an old reality TV show. And they even did the finale. Jeff Probst was in his garage. They just made a backdrop for him. It's kind of what we're doing and what Simon does all the time. It's become popular. It's we just do it whatever we have with whatever we have. So that's really cool. I think the Pro Tour, it's awesome that they did that. So who's gonna win? I think that's interesting. There's a final. I think we're down to the final 8 for both women. Elite 8? Yep, for the women and the men. I don't want to give away any spoilers or anything like that. Not that you really can, but go check it out and be sure to tune in on there. So let's go ahead. Let's bring Simon in now, and he can participate with some of our topics here, and we can get his opinion on it. So let's go ahead and welcome Simon onto the show. So here he is, Mr. Simon Lizotte, and it's cool.
We did it.
It's here.
So first things first, welcome to the show. We're really excited and grateful that you would choose to come on our show for the first ever episode. So thank you very much for that.
I mean, of course, guys, Massachusetts locals, and I actually have pretty exciting news. About 20 minutes ago, we made the first house offer of my life. So we'll see how that goes.
Congratulations.
Wait a second. I feel like if I'm gonna mimic, the disc golf guy and his podcast, this is a Nick and Matt show exclusive that just happened right now. That's incredible. In fact, one of the questions that came in when I posted earlier about questions was like, "Hey, is Simon gonna move to Texas?" So there you go. You just answered their question. So
that guy's very sad, and he probably just left the live stream.
So you put in an offer. We don't need to spend a lot of time on that, but it's an offer here in Massachusetts. Is that correct?
Yes. We want to. I mean, we're just outside of Boston right now because my girlfriend works pretty close to Boston, and for me that was cool, kind of, to have the airport close, but not really ever mattered since the whole tour was canceled anyway. But we want to definitely move a bit further outside of Boston, just to have kind of like a country living style. Prices will be obviously a lot cheaper the further you get away from Boston, and I'll be closer to Maple Hill. So all that in mind, and Natalia not having a crazy long drive to her job still, we're trying to like balance the right thing. But yeah, we made the offer like 20 minutes ago, and obviously we both don't really know what's going to happen next.
Holy cow. So like not long ago, and here you are on our show. So thank you. That's even more of a thanks. So I'm looking over your shoulder and I see disc of the day, and I think that's a Simon game. That's pretty cool. I don't know if I've ever seen that hanging up there, and I watch your vlog, so.
No, I'm trying to have a different disc up there every time I am on video or make a video. And actually I got to give a shout out to Tom Ireland for hooking me up with this disc. It's a Discmania DDX dyed with the Simon game on it, so I think it's the perfect disc.
It's actually a disc.
Okay, so
that's so cool.
Yeah, it is.
It looks like a wheel with like an arrow pointing to, you got to pick a red disc of the day. Like that's what I was thinking it was. But no, holy cow, that is so cool.
Don't.
Yeah, so
don't you know the Simon game?
So for anybody that's listening and not watching our podcast, let me just explain it to you. It's like the Simon game where the colors light up, the red, green, blue, yellow. You'll have to go check out his vlog if he has it up there. It's hanging up there, and it looks like the Simon game until he just took it down for us and showed us it's a disc that is dyed that way. It's awesome.
Very cool.
So you just heard us, I think, because you were sitting off camera, but I think you heard us talking about the Disc Golf Pro Tour Putting Championship. So fill us in just a little bit. What happened for you? What do you think, just in short consensus, like what do you think about the event itself? Like what's your perspective on that?
It was craziness, like trying to manage 32 players at once with all different locations, all different weather conditions, all different Wi-Fi connections. So I am very impressed and amazed that they even were able to pull it off and make it fun to watch and fun to follow. And even myself, I went on YouTube and looked at other matches, followed how Ricky was dominating Drew Gibson, was a specifically fun one to watch, I thought. And I had the pleasure of putting into Nathan Queen first round, and I actually pulled the win there. And then Zach Melton second round. I had to give, of course, Zach Melton the honor of advancing to the Elite Eight. And I can't wait to watch. And I actually might be in the booth on Saturday as a co-host for commentating that.
Look at that.
We're not 100% sure yet, but that's a possibility.
That's cool. That's cool, Simon, but it's not as cool as what's happening right now on the Nick and Matt show. I'm just kidding.
Oh, no, not even close.
So okay, that's really interesting. And just from my observation, I think you just putted through like what would be considered one session or one round of putting. Like you actually did each station just once, and that was your putting. That was what you put up for points, right?
Well, yeah, each station was 5 putts, and you have 5 stations. So it was a total of 25 putts, and the further you go back, the more points you get for a make. So yeah, it was quick. It was like 15 minutes and game over.
Right. Yeah. So the pressure was on there. Did it feel at all like competitive to you? Like you were by yourself or someone was videoing you, but did it feel competitive to you?
I would say it felt competitive, yes, but at the same time, I was filming the Bushnell challenge that I just posted the other day. We're talking about other stuff with the Pro Tour. I'm making like a new video every other day with different challenges. And I didn't even know what challenge I was doing at the time. It just felt like, I don't know, so used to doing challenges that I kind of missed the excitement for that one. But of course, I still felt some pressure and some excitement.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And you have been super busy. Like everyone knows, you have one of the biggest vlogging channels, especially in the disc golf world, where just tons of people are tuning into it. Everyone's enjoying your videos. Fortunately, I've been fortunate enough to actually be in a couple of them, me alongside with Casey, Maki Chap. And we've been having a super good time with it, but we know how much work that actually takes for you to do. So when you're not vlogging and not playing disc golf, what are some other hobbies you like to do? Like tell the people just some other things about yourself.
Do you have time to do anything else? Yeah. Okay, so I'll just rephrase it a little bit. Like if you didn't have that stuff, like maybe what else would you be doing, or is that too hard to ask?
Man, it's so tricky, especially during this time now with the pandemic. Like, I don't know what else I would be doing. I mean, there's not many other options that I could be doing. So, yeah, but other than working on the videos or going out and filming, most of my time I'm at home playing darts, probably. I usually would play at least the same amount of pool than I am playing darts, but all the pool halls are closed, and I don't have my own pool table yet. But with the new house, that would then maybe allow me for making that dream a reality.
Okay,
are you going to do the 8-footer or the 9-foot pool table?
Darts. Yeah, of course. I want a professional pool table that's 9 foot and best quality.
Oh, absolutely.
That's just my style.
Are you good at darts? Like, I'm asking from a perspective of somebody who's never actually played darts. Like, I've thrown darts, but I've never played the game. Are you good where, like, I feel like I've seen, like, you hit those little sections, like I need to hit some points specifically. Are you good like that, or is it kind of just like hope and pray? Or like, are you decent?
I mean, when it comes to like hand-eye coordination, I'm usually pretty good at stuff. Also, it kind of relates to putting in a way-ish. So I would say I'm pretty good. If I would relate it to like a disc golf rating, I would say I'm right around just like 990 to like trying to break 1,000 rated.
So where I'm at in the disc golf world.
So,
I mean, compared to the pros, I'm not good.
Yeah.
But compared to the average player, I'm really good.
So that's a very interesting perspective that I actually just thought people might enjoy, just to consider for just a second, that Simon is not a professional dart player, so he gets to experience the same thing that we do as disc golfers when we look to him as a professional, and that he does as a dart player to professional dart players. So I'm glad we can relate on something, Simon.
Oh, of course. I don't feel disc golf is just such a part of my life. I've been doing it ever since I can remember walking. So I don't know. It never really felt like I was that good at it because it's like so natural and just part of what I do. And I just happen to naturally be good because I've been doing it my entire life.
Right. So let's move away from disc golf for just a second, because I kind of asked that question. We talked about darts, and so let's just kind of stay off disc golf for just a minute, because we're going to talk more about it. If you're going to like order something for dinner and it's just kind of like, hey, I don't want to make anything, I just want to order something that's like, I don't know, I don't call it comfort food or whatever you want, like, hey, this is what I like, that's my go-to, what would it be?
Well, I can tell you that happens a lot. It happens, I mean, less now with the pandemic, but probably at least 3 times a week still. Usually, oh my God, my diet is
That's
so
okay.
bad. I'm embarrassed.
Me too.
I'm embarrassed to say. But I don't know. We are into Indian food. We get Indian delivered every now and then. And then, of course, the standards like pizza or wings. just like comfort food kind of, and
So good.
lazy sitting on your couch food.
So good. I've recently been, I say recently, it's been like 6 months now. I took over cooking. I say took over. I asked my wife if I could help. We have 4 boys under the age 10, and I'm cooking now. I can make whatever I want, and it's awesome. Like, I've just been getting really creative. But one of the foods you just said was Indian food. Indian food is something I want to start trying to make. Like, it's like, I don't know, the chicken tikka masala or whatever, like that sauce, and it's so good,
Yep.
right?
I mean, it's a classic. It's something you can it's always a go-to, and it'll never disappoint. It's like always just a solid go-to.
Oh, absolutely. And kind of on that same topic, I mean, you and we've gone out before, and I know you like to enjoy good beer. Do you have any favorite beers in Massachusetts? Yep. And you got to brew your own, which I don't know if a lot of people know, but you actually helped brewing the beer that he's probably drinking right now. Or is that your favorite one?
No, this has been my favorite beer now. I got to give a shout out to Avery Jenkins at this point, who brought me closer to Trillium Brewing, which is, I wouldn't even say arguably, probably like the best brewery in Boston.
Okay.
And I've been really enjoying Trillium. Of course, I love the hops, IPAs, double IPAs. And the beer I brewed myself, actually now, oh my gosh, that's a while ago now. But the Tap-In IPA, that was really fun. I think I made 5 gallons of it. Those have been gone for a long time.
Nice. That's awesome.
But the label was awesome, and a very fun experience to get into the world. I know just Nate Dawes, who went from being a pro disc golfer to a brewer. And that is something that I definitely could see myself doing as well.
Oh,
I like it.
Another exclusive announcement. So we're getting close to where we're actually going to be playing a game that involves you, Mr. Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, and Nick. I'm going to be hosting it. We're just about there. So if you're tuned in live, watching on video, stick around. You can actually answer as part of this game. We'd love to get your answers as well. If you're listening on the podcast recording, feel free to think out loud just based off of what you hear. It's not going to be as easy for you, but I think you can enjoy the content. But right before we get to that game, I just want to shout out, I mean, we're not like breaking news here, but like the national tour was just officially announced canceled. I think it was yesterday.
Yeah.
So does that affect anything for you, really, Simon? Or was that kind of just like, hey, that was expected, it was going to happen? Or was that like, I mean, was that kind of like, wow, that is breaking news to you? Or were you kind of, you were expecting it?
I was definitely expecting it, but like what nowadays is expected or unpredictable? It's like no one knows what's coming next, and I don't know. I'm still sitting here completely clueless if we're going to even play a single sanctioned event this year. Right? So I don't know.
Yeah. So I mean, that's realistically just to pass over it. I mean, the Disc Golf Pro Tour did have an event at Waco, right? That was really it. And then I mean, there was the Las Vegas Challenge, and then it kind of just
Memorial, Waco. Is there one in between that?
No. Yeah, so everything was canceled. I mean, European Open was canceled within the last couple of weeks here. GBO was obviously canceled. And then the national tour. And I think if I read correctly, and again, we don't need to spend like a whole bunch of time on this, but they announced that Worlds, something along the lines of like Worlds is postponed, like as in like pushed back. Like they had dates in September, but also it's not like official that like that's happening. It's kind of like, hey, we're going to check back June 1st because of like stipulations on travel from like Europe or something, or around the world. Like
exactly.
It has to be open. Is that how you understand it?
I mean, it's hard to call something a World Championships without any international people there, or a very limited amount of international people there. So I know the European Championships just got canceled a week or 2 weeks ago. Also because of the international travel problems. So that got postponed to 2021. That was going to be held at the Konopiste venue in close to Prague, Czech Republic, which is one of my favorite places to go. So I'm bummed about that one, and I might not even be able to go home to Germany at all this year. I know my brother is going to be a first-time dad in the next 2 weeks probably, and I'm going to be an uncle. So
Wow.
yeah,
Congratulations to him. But yeah, that's a huge bummer.
Oh, yeah.
You won't be able to go back potentially and be able to visit them. I mean, I'm sure you're super excited for that. So
Yeah, it's definitely a big step for the family and something completely new and different. But yeah, I mean,
So
Worlds in September. I mean, in Utah. So we might go from Green Mountain Championships in Vermont to
all
Utah,
the way over to Utah.
and then back
Yeah.
to the East Coast to play USCGC.
yeah, and so just based off of, and I'm not quoting you perfectly because I just heard it, but it's something along the lines of you're even kind of unsure about any of the events that may or may not happen this year. So with that, we got one last little topic before the game here, and we don't. I think it's interesting because it's relevant to everything that's happening right now. Disc golf courses are starting to open all over, and some of them have never closed. But you see the PDGA is actually allowing sanctioning in certain states and certain countries. And so it's starting to, I guess, trickle start, if we're using a disc golf term, trickle start. But so Maple Hill, obviously you're fairly local to the scene now where you've played it. We've watched your vlogs recently, and I live in Leicester, and Nick lives just down the road from Maple Hill. They put in tee times. At the time, I was working at Walmart. Hold on a second. My video's playing back. Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. I don't know if, just out of curiosity, I don't know. I thought I had a separate feed for that. Maybe I don't.
Oh, that's all right. Anyway,
Okay.
so back on the back
So
on the
tee times. What do you think about tee times? And do you think disc golf courses, especially private courses, like would benefit from that? Like just in general going forward from here?
Man, I don't know what I can say to that except for I don't know. I mean, everyone kind of has to decide what's the risk here, what's the risk there, and if you're willing to take a risk, or what even means a 1% risk or a 0.25% risk. Like, we just don't know. We just all got to be cautious and keep our distances and just
Oh yeah, for sure.
stay.
Yeah. So Nick,
safe.
what do you think about tee times? I mean, I've talked to you a little bit off air, if you will.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on tee times?
I was going to say I've talked with a ton of people about this. Is like Maple Hill gets really crowded. Obviously not during a pandemic, but before the pandemic was going on, say late last year, September, October, Maple Hill is incredibly crowded. They have both parking lots almost completely filled. Like, it's insane, especially on the weekends. And they even up their price for rounds on the weekends. And it's beyond packed. And I love the idea of tee times, especially with everything going on right now. It keeps the amount of people that are going out at the same time. Like, there's only 5 people every 15 minutes who are allowed to go out. Luckily at Maple Hill, there's 4 different layouts. And so say, Matt, you sign up for an 11 o'clock tee time, and I, who don't know you, sign up for an 11 o'clock tee time as well. I might go out and play golds. You might go and play the reds course. So all I have to do is just say, hey, man, you can go first. You're playing the shorter course. It's going to take me longer, obviously, to complete the holes. You go ahead. And we might not see each other the whole rest of the round, the way the courses are laid out. And so I really do enjoy the tee times right now. I like the idea of kind of less people on the course. If you want to sign up and play 2 rounds in one day, you got to think, okay, this round's going to take me 3 hours. So I'm going to sign up for a 9 o'clock tee time, and then I want to go get lunch, and I'll come back and I'll play a 1 o'clock tee time. And that's if they're both available. But
yeah, so and from my perspective, it feels, I'm just going to talk about the feeling. It feels like I played traditional golf before disc golf. Like, that was something, I wasn't great at it, but I enjoyed the sport. And I think the tee time makes it seem a little bit more official. Now, whether you want that for disc golf or not, like that official feel, there's something about knowing that, like, I'm showing up at this time to play my round, and it's nice. I mean, there's obviously the casualness, go to a park course and all that, but like on a private course, to me, it has a different feeling to it. Never mind like all the congestion of people showing up at the same time. It just has this is my tee time. Like, I own the tee pad at this time.
especially one of the nice courses in the country, even the world at that point. I think it got voted number 2 in the world. And look at all the golf courses. They've been running with tee times. Obviously, they're more expensive. I know that, but they've been running with tee times for how long? And there's just that extra kind of like professionalism. Like Matt was saying, when you have that time, it's your time to tee off. Maple Hill obviously has the whole sap house, the game room, and everything like that. And when all this blows over, people can start using that again. I kind of am hoping that Maple Hill gets into that country club kind of vibe. You know, towards the end of last year, they were selling hot dogs. You could order pizza, and they would have them in a warmer ready after your round and everything like that. And so I think this is just kind of one more step closer that Maple Hill is taking to get into that more professional stage. And I love that. I think that's an incredible thing for our sport, and I hope people are liking it. And yeah.
So yeah, and so I don't know. Comment. I guess I'm interested in the comments, that if we can get some comments flowing in here of people that are watching right now. Even like, what do you think? Do you like tee times? What are your thoughts on tee times? What do you think there should be? Do you like the idea of it? Obviously, during this time that we are in right now, it makes sense. But what's your thoughts in general? So okay. Go ahead and share that with us. And if you're listening on the podcast, feel free to come back and comment on this live episode. Or we even have an email. Nick, did you know we had an email?
I did not.
I think it's the Nick and Matt DG show, because someone has an email, the Nick and Matt show. But we were able to get
we'll have to buy it out.
We were able to get the YouTube. We were able to get Instagram. We were able to get like anything we wanted, SoundCloud, everything else. But the email was taken. So we're the Nick and Matt DG show. If you want to send us any thoughts on topics.
At what?
At gmail.com right now. We didn't pay.
See, I still use Hotmail. So.
Wow. Okay. So
Paul and Hannah still make fun of me for that.
Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. Because we're at a place now where we're actually going to go ahead and jump into the game. And what I want to do, you might have heard it earlier. Is Terry, you might have muted yourself now. Did you mute yourself? No? Now it's not letting me unmute you. It's just saying mute or remove from call.
I think this has happened to me before. If we have him, or we'll call him back, or he calls back into the show.
Okay. So that's really weird. Terry, you might have to call us back, which is fine. Maybe just give it a call. Oh, it's unmuted. Oh, he left.
Okay.
All right. So here's the deal. We're going to play a game. As soon as Terry calls us back, we'll get him into the room. Here he is calling us back. Let's see if we can hear him. Okay, good.
Did you merge or just answer that one?
Oops.
Hey.
What did I just do?
You didn't merge it. You hit the regular. So now we got to have Simon call us back.
This is incredible. This is a learning. And so Terry, this is to your point. Now you're coming up as Simon on my camera. So let me pull you up correctly here.
No worries. Take your time. I had to get up and disconnect the call and then re-bring it back in.
Okay,
so
now merge it. I think it's the far left one.
Yeah. Okay. So everybody's coming back in. I missed it, but it should be merging it. Okay. So long story short, we're getting it back.
I think we're back.
Hold on.
This is all Matt's side of the podcast.
It's absolutely. How is that coming up as Simon?
So here's my other pro tip while you're working on that, Matt.
Yeah.
So here's what I'll say to you, Nick.
Mm-hmm.
These are the times when you need to have a topic or two for yourself that you can kind of blather on about. Well, makes the adjustments, because Johnny screws things up every day. So I always have to. I try to have a topic or a thought, at least some stray thought in my brain of what could I talk about by myself to the viewers while Johnny fixes the audio
I actually
visual.
do have something in mind as you said that. I was like, you know what? I got kind of a funny story to tell. As a decent amount of people know, back in 2017, I moved down to Virginia to live at Paul's apartment with him. So I had just driven 10 hours, a little bit through the snow, finally got to his apartment. He welcomed me in. And then about an hour later, I unpacked my car and everything like that. And we were like, hey, we're both kind of hungry. What's there to eat around here? So he said, oh, there's a great sub place down the road, only literally 45-second car ride. So he's like, if you fly, I'll buy. Meaning if I drove, he'll pay for my meal, which was great. Even though I just drove 10 hours, it was a free meal out of it. So anyways, went down to Firehouse Subs, got 2 subs for us, drove back to the apartment, and I was wearing a new pair of joggers, and I just had his debit card in my pocket. So as I was sitting down waiting for our food to get done, it must have fallen out of my pocket, because when I got back to the apartment, he was like, all right, where's my credit card? And I said, oh, it's right here. And then I go check my pockets. It's not in there. And I'm kind of like, I'm panicking at this point because I'm making a fool out of myself, 1 in front of Paul Macbeth and 2 in front of my new roommate. So I was like, all right, it's got to be a Firehouse sub. So let me just drive back down there really quick. I'm probably gone from Firehouse for 4 minutes total. I drive back down there, just about closing time. And I say, hey, I was just in here, just ordered my food. I dropped my debit card or credit card. Any chance you guys found it? And he was like, yeah, we found it. And I was like, great. Can I have it back?
What's your name?
Yeah. Well, he didn't even ask that. He said, great. We found it. And I was like, all right.
Wait a second. Wait. So he's told me this story before, and I just want to give a little bit more setup, and I'm going to let him continue. Yeah. It was your first week. I think you said that, or second
my
week.
First day.
It was his first day. Okay. Paul asked him to move into the apartment, and it's his first day. He's going to go get food. He goes with his credit card. And so you can only imagine, okay, Nick knew Paul, but like this is still Paul Macbeth. Like okay. So this is like a lot of pressure on the line for Nick. Like, okay, I'm gonna go drive and get dinner for Paul Macbeth. Like,
I swear it was not like that.
Okay. But that's how I like to imagine it in my head when he tells the story.
I'm like sweating.
So he goes and he gets it. He says not even a couple minutes. And then what happens?
I go back in. I ask the guy. He said, yeah, I got the card. He opens up the cash register and he hands me back the card. And it's in about 10 different pieces. And a company policy of theirs is when they find a debit card, they don't hold on to it for, 10 days, 7 days, even a day, not even 10 minutes. If they find a card, they chop it up. So I'm ticked now. Like I'm actually really mad. I haven't eaten at Firehouse since. I told myself I'll never eat there again for that reason. Anyway, so then I'm driving back to the apartment, and I'm thinking in my head, and I'm like, how the heck do I tell this to Paul? And so he's like, I walk back in, and he goes, do you have my card? I said, yeah, well, there's a funny story about that. And I explained the whole thing to him, and I gave him this blue, completely chopped up credit card. And that's just kind of like, that's my first experience living with Paul.
And I'm just, Matt, the first time I heard this story was like it was like a week after it happened, and I was in person down there, and I was crying because to me, I just, now like set aside the fact that happened, like the restaurant, right or wrong, I guess, but like it was not even minutes.
Not even 10 minutes.
They shredded it.
Even 10
they
minutes.
shredded it right away.
I think it's a fair policy. We're not taking maybe editorial notes, but it's harsh, but yet a fair policy.
Yeah.
I mean, they're trying to protect people, which I think is great, but
they just made me look like a fool in the meantime.
Hey, Paul,
I mean, they serve sandwiches. Yeah. They don't, they don't alter livelihoods
so
here.
He goes back with the food, and I think I remember Hannah or somebody was like, of course, you're always joking or whatever, like your dad or whatever, right? And it's like, you're like, no, for real, they shredded your card.
Like I was telling him, I was like, well, here it is, it's shredded. He's like, no, come on, like, give me the real card. And I was like, no, I'm being dead serious, dude. Like, you're gonna have to call Bank of America tomorrow morning because it's gone.
That's his story. Most people, and I'm just gonna be honest, most people would love to be in Nick's position and move in with Paul back in the day into an apartment. And this is Nick's first story. Okay, so Nick had a good first time. So, all right.
And you guys are still pals.
Yeah,
so
we're still pretty good friends.
Now you're going to have to chop up one of Simon's credit cards. He doesn't need it.
Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm queuing up the music here and the show, and we're going to run into a game now. So let me go ahead and I'm going to pull it up. It's actually, let's see here. We'll do it like this for now. I'm going to pull Simon back up for just a minute here. As I explain this, the way this game works. Yeah, hey, Simon, you're back. I lost everybody for a second. I learned my lesson, or I don't know what I learned, but I'm learning as I go.
We're back.
So we're back. So what we're going to do, and I've already given you guys kind of the rundown, but for anybody watching right now, okay, what's going to happen is I found somebody random, honestly random. I've never even met this person on the disc golf course at Maple Hill. And I said, can I ask you some questions? And so I asked them a series of questions such as, well, you'll see. And the goal here is for Simon, Terry, and Nick to try to guess what this disc golfer is going to answer. And so this episode or this segment is called Judge That Disc Golfer. So let me go ahead and get this up, and I hope you guys enjoy. All right, here we go.
I'm gonna win.
That Disc Golfer, the game show where you judge a disc golfer you've never met.
Hey man, what's your name?
John.
All right, John, you're playing disc golf. You're at Maple Hill. How long have you been playing disc golf for?
10 years.
10 years. Okay. Do you have a PDGA rating?
I don't.
Okay. I'm trying to give my co-host some tips on how these questions might go here, okay? So, first question is, how far can you throw a disc? Okay, so we're going to pause it there. If you heard the introduction, okay, he said he's been playing, and he looked for a second, kind of thinking, he's been playing for 10 years. And then I followed up with, do you have a PDGA rating? Now, whether or not I should have said number, I don't know. But he said he does not. So we asked him the question, how far can you throw a disc? Now, this is not Price is Right. This is not closest without going over. This is just going to be closest to what he says. And we're gonna ask first here. We're going to pull up. We'll go with just luck of the draw here. Terry Miller, what do you think he's going to say? How far can he throw a disc?
Yeah, and sorry, you're cutting out a little bit, but if you're asking how far do I think he's going to throw or can throw, I think he's going to tell us, now I don't know if he can, but he's going to tell us, I can throw about 400.
Okay.
I think that's going to be his number.
Okay, so Terry guesses 400. We're going to go over here, and we'll try to change this up as we go through the game. We're going to go to Simon here. Simon, what does he answer? How far can he throw a disc?
Matt, something's wrong with your microphone, but I still understood the question. 400 is such a softball answer, Terry, but I'm just going to say 420. Seems like the guy.
Would you say 420?
So, are you not hearing Nick or me?
You just occasionally cut out. I think it has something to do with maybe your Skype bandwidth, possibly, but you sometimes just dip out on us a little bit.
Okay, well, I hope that fixes itself. But so, okay, I missed Simon's answer. What did you say number? What was your number?
420, baby.
420. So he outdid Terry. Yeah, we want to keep it pretty fair. No like 401 or something like that. Okay. Yeah. So 420 is good.
Ballpark answers.
420 is good. Okay, I'm going to switch over to Nick here. Nick, what's your guess at how far he can throw a disc?
I'm going to go 375.
Okay, so we're spread out by about 20 feet or so.
Yep.
So 375.
I'll go 380 to make it easier. 380, 400, 420.
Okay, so it's going to be closest is going to get a point is how we do this, okay? So here we go. Let me just pull it back just a little bit. We'll start it over just a little bit further back. Let me just check audio. Here we go. Let's see what he says. So on how these questions might go here, okay? So first question is, how far can you throw a disc? All right, so he's thinking about it. We already have our answers. Here he goes.
285, 300.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. So he went where I think that's probably just being super honest. That's not internet distance.
Yeah. And the only other number I was thinking he might have said 350, but no. Clearly, I think he's being very honest. Probably at that. So kudos to him.
Yeah, and honest, and also just I think when I heard that I was like, it's not easy to throw more than 300 feet. And I know I have Simon on here right now, but it's not easy. You have to learn the game, obviously. But with 10 years, maybe he enjoys going to the course. And he has a Maple Hill maybe in his backyard. So that's cool. Here we go. Question number 2. Thank you. What would you say your favorite hole at Maple Hill is? Okay. Favorite hole at Maple Hill. We're going to flip it up. We're going to go to Nick here. Nick, what do you think he's going to say his favorite hole at Maple Hill is?
You know, that's kind of tough because there's 4 different layouts, and I think every single hole has iconic holes on each one. Obviously, the gold layout has hole 1, but for someone who throws 300 feet, I'm going to go with hole 1 white.
Okay, so we're not going to have to be that specific as like well, I mean, if it's specific to that hole, like hole, I don't know. I guess you can be specific, but we'll give it to you if you get it correct on the number. So, all right, Simon, you're up. Nick said hole 1. What do you say, Simon?
I was definitely going to say hole 1 as well. So let me go through the numbers. 2, 3. I'm going to say hole 4.
Okay, hole 4.
Easy birdie.
It's a good hole.
Hole 4 at Maple Hill. Okay, let's see. Terry, what do you got? What do you think he's going to say for his favorite hole at Maple Hill?
Well, if he throws that far, it's not going to be a water carry hole. I would think. So, that rules out a few of the iconic ones like 14 or 5. And then for the easy birdie, I was thinking hole 4. So I'm going to say, since Simon claimed that one, I'm going to say the downhill. It's definitely going to be a downhill hole. And I think it's going to be hole 13.
Oh, that's a great hole.
Okay, so again, we've got 13 is good.
13's awesome.
So I'm not going to give it away, but I'm just looking on the chat board. Again, if you're listening to the audio later, I'm referencing our live podcast recording here, so feel free to do that with us in the future. But I see a lot of answers coming in, and someone saying 8. I see a lot of 8s, actually, a lot of 8s. So we could do like a phone a friend thing here. If anyone wants to change, we'll let you do it once through the game. But okay, so anybody want to change? You can change.
No, we'll go with it.
Okay. All right, here we go. Let's see what he has to say. I'll pull it back just a little bit here. What would you say your favorite hole at Maple Hill is? All right, here's thinking about it. Here he goes.
Hole 8.
Okay.
I'm guessing from
Yeah, it'd probably be from white to blue. It would have to be white to blue.
Right? That's like 330 or 310 or something.
That's 320.
So he doesn't love that hole.
So it's not quite, I mean, it's fair, but if you're a local, as in Nick should have got this one. Just
yeah,
kidding.
well, I kind of forgot about it. I was just thinking hole 1, even for whites. I think it's I think it says 355 if I'm looking at it correct, but I don't think it plays that far.
So
it's just such a cool
What a
hole.
good hole.
it's probably
Good choice.
and someone commented this. It's probably white because white is 250 feet to clear.
Whites
So-
are blues. Blues is also, if he throws forehands, he'll
True.
say blue.
Or it could be red. If you've never been to Maple Hill, there's a lot of options.
Yeah.
Red does not have a water carry, but it wouldn't be that exciting of a hole either.
Exactly.
So, okay, here we go. So nobody got that right. But if we were playing closest to, it would be Simon. We're gonna play it that way. So closest to. I know that's kind of funny for this one.
Nice.
Yeah, not really. Because if you're talking actual proximity, 8 is probably closest to what I said in hole 13 in terms of actual proximity on the course.
Yeah, that's close.
Maybe not. Okay,
It depends
anyway.
if the pond is frozen or not, and Simon can skate across. I mean, it all depends.
Exactly.
Okay, so so we're gonna go. In this case here, Nick has a point. Simon has a point. Let's go on. If you had to pick a favorite pro disc golfer that's on tour right now, who would it be? Okay, favorite pro disc golfer, and I said on tour right now. I guess I mean in general a touring disc golfer, but I don't specify that for him. Okay, let's go to. I don't think we've had Simon answer first yet.
Simon would be first.
Simon, you're up, man. So who's his favorite pro disc golfer?
Greg Barsby.
Just a shot in the dark. A shot.
I have the vibes. I don't know why.
Okay, Greg Barsby's Simon's answer, and Terry, who are you picking here?
I can't see. Is that a Discmania sweatshirt he's wearing?
Incubus.
I don't think it is,
Incubus.
No.
The band Incubus.
right? Okay, I couldn't make it out. Okay. Wow. I'm just gonna guess Simon. Just to make Simon happy. I mean, if I'm not gonna win this, I might as well, kiss up to Simon. We'll go. He's Simon Lizotte.
Okay, so that's a good answer, I think. Let's see here. I mean, there's a few good answers.
Yeah.
Greg Barsby's not a bad answer. Shout out to Greg. Okay, so Nick, who do you pick as a favorite pro disc golfer?
Oh, Terry kind of took the idea that I was thinking, but I got to go with my homeboy, Paul Macbeth.
Okay, Paul Macbeth it is. Let's go ahead and ask him again here, and let's play through the answer. That's on tour right now. Who would it be? All right, he's thinking about it.
I don't know if they're on tour right now, but I'm going to say Simon.
Okay, Simon.
Wait.
Yeah, so Simon.
What a great answer. Nice.
Yeah, that is a great answer. So,
Well, you've got one fan now, Simon. Good job.
And you.
I
me
hope
too.
John is watching, and if he is, he should be commenting right about now. Cool. All right, so Simon has a point now. So because
No, Terry.
because we didn't. Oh,
Terry.
that was Terry.
Terry.
So we're tied.
Yeah, everyone has
One
a point right now.
to one
tied up.
to one.
Wow.
I think there's 5 questions. I forget. So hopefully we don't have a tie here. But let me go ahead and pull it up. Here we go. Question number 4. Simon Lizotte. Awesome. And let's see. How many discs do you have in your bag?
Might have count them.
You can count them. Okay. How many discs?
Yes.
Can I count them? Is what he said. So let's go to Nick first here. So Nick, this is again not closest with going over. This is just who can get closest to the number. So Nick, what do you guess for how many discs are in his bag?
17.
Wow. So I don't know if the rules would state you can't say
Brent
the
said
name,
the same
but
thing.
we would have to you'd have to split a point. I don't know if we want to do that. So I guess he just had the privilege of going first. So Simon, go ahead and pick another
Sorry,
number.
Simon.
What are the chances I was going to say
I know,
17 as well? Okay, let me think.
Yeah, especially with you both being wrong. That's so weird.
Yeah. So the fact that he had to count makes it seem like he must have more than 15 discs. Because if you have less than 15, I feel like you kind of know. I'm just going to go a bit higher than Nick said. I'm going to say 19.
19 discs. We're marking it down. All right, we're going over to Terry Miller. How many discs are in John's disc golf bag?
Honestly, my gut reaction, which is probably bigger than his bag, was going to be 10, and then you guys both go 17 and 19. I'll raise mine, but I'd be shocked if it's more than 13. So 13 is my answer.
Okay.
Just like hole 13 was the right answer earlier.
Okay. Okay, so we've got 13, we've got 17 and 19, and John said, can I count? So let's go ahead and move that back a little bit, and let's see who is closest. In your bag.
Might have count them.
You can count them. Okay, so he's counting his discs here.
It's going to be like 6.
23 discs.
It's going to be like 6. Wow.
What? I figured.
So 23
Well, hey, it's
discs.
a point for Simon.
It's a point for Simon. So, Simon, you're up there right now with 2 points. So, actually, we can have a tie because we have more than 2 players, and so we could split it 2 and 1. So, let's see. It's either a tie or Simon wins. That's how it goes right now. So, how do you feel, Simon? Any pressure?
I feel like we should be all tied right now because I guessed the wrong hole and still got the point, but I'll take half a point.
Okay, so he's still beatable.
Okay, so
Yes.
let's go ahead and jump over and see here what is going to happen with the next question. 23 discs in his bag, and if you're watching live, you can see the discs, and I'm kind of doing that right now, and I'm seeing, actually, it's about half mid-range and half drivers. It's a good mixing there, okay. All right, here we go. Next question. How many aces do you have? Okay. How many aces? And I'm confused at who we start with, Nick. Who are we going to? Is
I
it
think
Terry?
this one's Terry's.
Okay, so we're going to go over to Terry. He's been playing 10 years, no rating. You know a little bit more about him now. How many discs, his favorite hole, how far he can throw. Does he have aces? How many aces does he have?
Yeah, I was going to say I had all sorts of numbers. So I'm just going to say 3. 3 is the amount of aces that he has.
Okay. 3 aces is Terry's guess. I think we probably actually go to Nick with this one because we went to Simon last time. We've got answers coming in live as well. People are guessing 5, 2, 0, 7, 1. So, okay, Nick, you're up. What do you guess?
Oh, 10 years. That's a lot of time playing. I'm going to go with double digits. We're going to say 12.
Wow.
Remind me, Simon, what did you say?
I didn't say anything.
Terry won. Terry won.
Oh, thank you. That's why I'm having a brain freeze. I'm like, what did he say? So, all right, Simon, what do you pick?
Did he say where he's from? Is he
didn't
local
say.
here?
He did not say, and I actually do not have insider knowledge on that. This is a random disc golfer that we are judging.
Playing for 10 years. First ace usually takes 7 years, and then they come rolling usually. And
I would hate to wait 7 years.
Did Terry say 3?
What did you say, Terry?
Yes, I said 3. I said 3.
I'm gonna say 1.
Okay, 1, 3, and Nick went double digits, 12. All right, let's go ahead and pull this up here and see what he has.
There's a lot of short courses in math.
See what he has as an answer. How many aces do you have? Okay, he's thinking about it.
0.
Okay, so
All right.
So Simon is closest. So technically, we have our first ever Judge That Disc Golfer winner. We don't have like a shirt or anything, Simon. You're just gonna own the title.
I told Simon I'd buy him lunch next time we're allowed to go out to eat.
Okay.
He gets free lunch now.
I'm just stacking the titles in the second off season here. Terry will know.
Yep. Simon's the 2-time remix champion over at Smashbox. He's the he did get smashed in the putting competition. We won't talk about that one. But yeah, you're just racking up all the titles there, Simon. Congratulations.
Awesome. So
Nice.
So that just brings us to a question. Someone said, never mind, we won't bring it up. I think it was Casey White talking about losing on your own YouTube channel or something. So you come on everyone else's.
Yeesh.
You come on everyone else's and just destroy it.
Yeah, when I'm busy filming and I have all the editing already in my head, I can't focus on playing and filming and editing.
That's why we did so good.
Directing, all of
That's why we did so well with doubles. You let me put you on my back, and we slayed it.
Okay. So yes. And I fully agree with what you're saying on filming and trying to do it. It's very difficult. So there's a handicap there. Okay. Yeah. So let's jump over. I asked him one last question. I don't know. This is a bonus question. We already crowned Simon, but I can just change the rules right now. If anybody guesses this correctly, if it's Nick or Terry, we're just going to make it a tie, and then we'll figure out a tiebreaker. If it's Simon, obviously he still wins. So let's just see if anybody can guess this. What is the craziest thing you've ever seen happen on a disc golf course, either to you or somebody else? Okay, what is the craziest thing that you have ever seen happen on a disc golf course, whether it was to you or to somebody else? What is the answer?
Wow.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
do I have to go first?
There's
you don't have
thousands of answers for that one.
Exactly. This is why it's like you win if you get it right. Yeah. So we'll start with Nick. We're going to go with Nick. We're going to give Simon the luxury of hearing. Unless Nick, okay, Simon, do you want to go first? Or do you want to be second?
I won't come up with any better answers, so I don't care when I go.
But if somebody gets this right, it's going to be amazing. So, okay, here we go. Simon,
the craziest thing he's seen in 10 years of playing disc golf, I would say this dude on his card aced, and then the next hole, he aced again.
And
back-to-back aces is the craziest thing.
And that is actually a very good guess. All right, we're going to go to Terry. What do you think, Terry? What's the craziest thing John has seen?
Just to be funny, I was going to say LARPing and have him say the same thing I did. But no, I like where Simon's going, but I think he's going to say he saw an ace hit off of a tree, and that blew his mind. He thought that was crazy. So he's going to say an ace hit off of something or skipped or a tree or whatever, but an ace hits something hits the disc hit something and then ace.
Wow.
I think he's going to say that.
That's a very good guess as well. Man, you guys are getting you're thinking down the right line, I would imagine, with what is he going to say? All right. So we've got guesses coming in on the chat board as well. Stolen minivan, flying off a cliff and crashing onto hole 15. A putter stuck in the basket, lightning striking the basket, bird takes a disc,
marriage.
Yeah, sex in the woods, nice doubles, ace shots. Anyway, so a lot of different options coming up. So we're jumping over to Nick now. Nick, what do you think John is going to say as his answer?
He was out for a round with his friends one day and he saw a bear.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to go with. I walked outside of my porch yesterday and I saw a bear. So could happen on a disc golf course.
Okay. Awesome.
What?
Okay, so I've pulled it up here. Let's see if anybody got this correct. We're going to go ahead and listen in and see what he says. You or somebody else. Oh, let me just pull it back a little further so we can hear the question. So he says,
0.
I got 0 aces, and then I follow up. Here we go. What is the craziest thing you've ever seen happen on a disc golf course, either to you or somebody else?
Probably a ricochet ace off of a tree.
No.
Yes.
Wow.
Judge That Disc Golfer.
Judge That
the
Disc
game
Golfer.
show where you judge
Wow.
a disc golfer you've never met.
All right, so that was incredible. I don't even know.
What?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure right now. Simon, we already crowned you, but we're gonna.
Yeah. Unreal.
But did we? No. But yes, we did.
I'd like that tiara back. Bring that tiara back. I would like to wear the tiara.
Okay, so I feel like for this first ever episode, like I can't do this to either of you. I think you get the honorary title of getting the bonus point. Okay, like that's incredible that you just guessed that. So I don't know. We'll have to think up something.
You know, it's 2020. We all get participation trophies nowadays. So thank you for participating, and you're getting a trophy now.
How about this? Simon's good with it. I have to say this as you guys are probably wrapping up, but I'm so incredibly honored to have any part of your first ever show. And Simon, as the superstar that he is, if Simon would co-share that with me, the title here tonight as the first ever champions, I'd be so honored. I mean, what an honor it's been, honestly.
All right.
Yeah, I can just back Terry up there. I mean, Terry, one of my all-time disc golf heroes. So being on the podium with Terry is an honor for me as well. And that was a great guess, obviously, and I think that deserves some kind of title.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so that hopefully that was fun for you guys. I was excited to have you guys on. We have been going, and Terry, you said you had a long-running podcast. I mean, we've been going an hour and 20 minutes now.
Yeah, we'll wrap up this one for the first week.
So I just want to say thank you to both of you. So I'm going to say goodbye, Simon. Thank you very much for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Dude.
And the same to you, Terry. We really do appreciate it. We're going to switch over back to Nick
Thank
and
you,
I.
Terry.
Yeah, thank you, Terry.
Thank you, guys.
Great.
Best of luck to you. Appreciate it. Have a good night,
Absolutely.
guys.
Thank you very
You guys
much.
have
We'll
a good
talk to
night
you
too.
soon, Simon.
All right.
Good luck.
All right. Bye. So, Nick, let's see. As we wrap up here, so let me see here. Tell us a story, Nick Carl. You already told the story.
Yeah, I already told the story that we were kind of going to talk about, but I guess at this point, we have been running for about an hour and 20 minutes, and I just, first of all, want to say thank you to anyone who's tuned in, even if it was for 5 minutes, 5 seconds, or the whole time. We really appreciate it. You know, Matt and I have been excited to try this out. We hope you guys liked it so far. We are going to kind of get into the send-off stage of it now, and if there's any sort of things that you guys want to hear in the show, please like the page, leave us comments. We'd love to get to as many topics as you guys want. And again, I really, really appreciate it.
Yes, I can echo that. Thank you guys for joining us. We hope to get better. We had some technical difficulties. We'll check it back and we'll see what you guys have for input. Again, you can reach out to us through our Facebook page, The Nick and Matt Show. We're on Instagram, the same, and YouTube. So find us and follow us, because we're going to take this video right now and we're going to upload it to YouTube, and we're going to make this content available. It'll probably start out SoundCloud until iTunes accepts us into their podcast format, but it will be available there and most other podcast platforms as well. So I would like to say thank you, and we're going to wrap this up. Let me see here if we can kind of go out on like a bigger note. Let's see here. I'm going to pull it up. Here we go.
Thanks for tuning in to the Nick and Matt Show. Be sure to check us out on your favorite social platform and to subscribe on iTunes.